Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. We must be constantly careful as to our behavior and as to the things we say and do. The world of illusion is constantly adjacent to us and is looking to trip us up and take us into inappropriate places with inappropriate emotions and inappropriate reactions. And if this happens, we lose our way and we end up doing things we shouldn't be doing. And it's because of a lack of focus and a lack of understanding what's going on and a lack of control. When we lose control, we are out of control and we lose our way. Bawa tells a story about a lady who had one cow, and she used to milk this cow, and from the milk she would make ghee, which is what the Indians call clarified butter, and she would sell this ghee, and that's how she made her living. And she went on this way. She had her cow, she grazed her cow, she took care of her cow, she milked her cow, she took the milk and made ghee. One day, a woman in an adjoining village who was very wealthy, who had 1,000 cows, needed ghee, and she didn't have any. So she wondered where she could get some ghee. And she was told that this lady in the adjoining village made excellent ghee and she could get some from her. So she sent one of her servants over to the lady to ask for a bottle of ghee. And the lady who made the ghee said, if she wants ghee, she can come and get it herself. So the servant went back and told her that she would have to go herself to get the ghee. So she went and she met the lady and she said, I have an emergency. I need some ghee, and I'll repay you with the ghee within a couple of days. And the lady said, well, I only have one bottle here in the house and I have it for my own use. But since you say it's an emergency and you'll bring it back within a couple of days, here. And she gave her the bottle of ghee. The 2 days went by. 5 days went by. 10 days went by. 2 weeks went by. A month went by. 2 months went by. And the lady was hesitant to ask the other woman for the ghee in return because she was wealthy and she was poor and their status was very different. But finally, she sent someone she knew over to ask for the ghee. And when the person got there, she said, me return ghee to this woman? I never took any ghee from this woman. Why would somebody of my wealth have to borrow ghee? And if I did, why wouldn't I have returned it? And she beat the man up and sent him back home. So the woman herself went and she explained what happened. And she said she wants her ghee back. And the lady proceeded on the same route with her, telling her what a ridiculous statement to say she owed her ghee. She was a wealthy woman and she didn't owe anybody anything and she beat her up. So she went back home and she decided to take it to court. And when they got to court, the judge could not believe that this woman, who only had one cow, was telling a truthful story about this woman who had 1,000 cows. So he dismissed the case. She went to a second court on appeal, and they also reacted the same way. Someone of this kind of wealth could not owe this woman 1 bottle of ghee. So she went to a higher court again, and in this court, there was an administrative judge who assigned cases. And he knew there was something strange here, he could sense it, but he could also sense that normal judges couldn't figure this out. So he sent it to someone who he knew who had wisdom. And he said, go before this judge. So they went before the judge. And this courtroom was an open courtroom. It was held outside. And people came to watch. And first, the lady who was supposed to owe the ghee testified. And she said, I never took any ghee from this woman. And because I never took any ghee from this woman, I don't owe her any ghee. And what she is doing is she is purposefully trying to insult me and insult my status. And then the judge said, well, let me talk. Let me see what the other woman has to say. And she said, on such and such a day, this lady came to see me. First, she sent a servant. I said I wouldn't give it to the servant. She would have to come. She came, and then she told me she had an emergency. She needed some ghee. I gave her the ghee. She promised me she would return it in 2 days. I waited 2 months. It didn't come back. And that's why I brought a court action. And the judge pondered, and then he said, I want you each to go home and bring an urn of water with you tomorrow. And this court was being held in a field, and he told some of the people who were working for him in the court to muddy the end of the field that led to a fence. Pour water on it, make it muddy. And the next day, when the 2 ladies came back with their urns, he told them to walk through the mud to the fence and then walk back. And then he said to them, I want you now to clean your feet with the water that you brought in your urns. The lady with the 1 cow methodically took a little bit of water and wiped her feet slowly and soon got them clean. The lady with the 1,000 cows poured the water on her feet and the mud didn't come off. And the judge looked at him and he said, I find that the lady with 1 cow is methodical and she's careful and she takes care of what she does. I find that the lady with the 1,000 cows is rather impulsive and doesn't do things in a careful manner. And that's why her feet are still muddy. I find through their actions that the woman with the 1 cow is a more trustworthy woman. And I therefore believe what she has told me, and I order the woman with 1,000 cows to give her her ghee back. And if she doesn't give her her ghee back, I will have to impose a very stringent sentence against her, put her in jail for an extended period of time. And the woman who had the 1,000 cows became frightened. And she said, I admit that what she said is correct, and I will give her the ghee. And the other woman says, I didn't bring the lawsuit because of the ghee. I brought the lawsuit because of justice. I don't want the ghee, but I want it understood that even judges are overwhelmed by the Maya of wealth and the Maya of titles and the Maya of richness. So they don't believe the poor person. They only believe the rich person. Finally, I was before a judge of truth, and he understood the reality of it. Now, the lady with the 1,000 cows could have easily given the ghee back, but she lost her focus. She was insulted that somebody so poor should ask her for ghee because she was a very important person, and she took her importance to heart and was very easily insulted. Now she was shown to be a liar before the entire community, and her self-importance was blown up. It is difficult to keep one's sense about oneself when one allows their emotions, their pride, and their arrogance to rule them. They say things that they shouldn't say, and they get involved in things they shouldn't be involved in. It is characteristics that they've developed over time because of their status in this world. Imagine, if you can, that you take 100 people from various parts of the world and put them into one room. You'll have people of different colors, different nationalities, different languages, different races, different religions, different ideas, and there will immediately be conflict because of all of these differences. These people won't get along easily. Now, imagine if you took 100 babies from 100 different countries and you brought all of these babies together in one room. They would immediately begin to play with each other, and they wouldn't have any differences. They wouldn't have any color differences. They wouldn't have any religious differences. They wouldn't have any political differences. They wouldn't have differences. They would just play with each other. Now, what happened from the time they were babies till the time they grew up? What happened to these people? Well, religion was introduced, language was introduced, culture was introduced, arrogance was introduced, I'm right, you're wrong was introduced. All of these things that create differences were introduced. The babies haven't had that introduced yet. The babies don't know about differences, so they just play with each other as if there was a great unity among them. They don't know anything else but unity. But adults have lost this sense of unity. They've lost this sense of oneness and equality. And why have they lost it? They've lost it because they've lost their connection to unity. All of a sudden, from being at one, they entered and were influenced by Maya. They were influenced by Satan. They were influenced by differences. They were influenced by separations. And they took these separations to mean that they were somehow better than other people, that they were somehow more than other people. And so now, in the world today, we are all separated. We're separated by religions. We're separated by languages. We're separated by colors. We have all of these distinctions that we've made amongst ourselves. We have all of these distinctions that make some of us high and some of us low. We don't understand the unity among men. We don't understand the oneness among men. There has to be a cleansing. There has to be a return to what we were when we came. And the way this cleansing happens is to recap our life and melt away all that has formed within us that created these differences, to look at the reals of our life, see them, and melt them. Melt away the differences that we've gathered and the differences that we've taken on and the differences that we've given importance to. Now, in the world of illusion, in the world of Maya, there are differences that have no meaning. The color of one's skin has no meaning. The language that one speaks has no intrinsic benefit or detriment. It has no meaning. Yet, what we do is we apply meaning to all of these differences. And we grade these differences and make whatever ones we hold on to as the important ones and the ones that other people hold on to as the mistaken ones and the not important ones. And this is what leads to all of the conflict in this world. This is what leads to strife. This is what leads to war. This is what leads to all of the people in the world coming into conflict with each other. Many prophets came. Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad. So many different prophets came. And what we are supposed to be doing is listening to the prophets. But the message of the prophets became obscured by religion. And religion began to say, my religion is better than your religion, therefore we are at conflict. My religion is the only religion, therefore we are at conflict. And all of these conflicts were created that in essence didn't exist. God is one. God doesn't have a wife or children. God doesn't have a religion. He is beyond philosophy. He is beyond religions. Yet, even though we can comprehend that the one who created us is beyond religion, we don't seem to be able to get out of the shackles that religions put on us. And we have to remove ourselves from those shackles. We have to be able to worship in our way, to believe in our way, yet not be in conflict with anyone else and the way that they worship, in the way that they see truth. We need to understand the true path. We need to understand true conduct. We need to understand the conduct that we are supposed to live by. Having a teacher, having a sheikh assists in doing this. Many people live degraded lifestyles. They live lifestyles that are entrenched in illusion and seem to get their sustenance from this illusion. Many people don't know any better. They've lived their entire life this way, and they consider it their life. They don't know that there's a way out of this life. There are people who drink alcohol. They drink alcohol to the point where they need alcohol every day in order to exist. They don't understand that there's a way to live without it. They think it's normal or natural. There are people who do drugs. They think they need these drugs in order to exist. They also think that their idea of a lifestyle is better than everyone else's. They think they've somehow found the secret to a blissful existence, which is being lost in drugs or being lost in alcohol. They don't realize that there is another form of existence. When we are without guidance, we are subject to the whims of illusion. When we are without guidance, we are subject to the vagaries of illusion. When we are without real guidance, we do not know the bliss and the joy and the overwhelming sense of truth that can come to one who does away with the belief in illusion. It's only when we're with a teacher who presents contentment, who presents serenity, who presents truth in a way that we now recognize it within ourselves and recognize the ability to find it within ourselves, that we can leave the grip of illusion, the grip of Maya, the grip of all of these false satisfactions. There are so many false satisfactions in the world. There are so many degraded things in the world, yet the world gives homage to this degradation. The world gives homage to these degraded things. The world gives homage to these degraded lifestyles. You're constantly reading in the magazines, in the newspapers, about the lifestyles of, as they would put it, the rich and famous, and the degraded different things that they do, as if this is something that we should be aiming for. Oh, if I only could get divorced every 3 years. Oh, if I only could partake in degraded sexual fantasies. Oh, if I only could live the lifestyle that these degraded people have. And they throw these degraded things at us constantly. And if you watch television or read newspapers or read magazines, they're constantly in front of your face. You can't avoid them. It almost comes to the point where to avoid them, you have to become cloistered. You have to become hidden from the world. You have to become hidden from the constant onslaught of these things in our lives. Yet, how much publicity do men of wisdom get? How much publicity do men of serenity get? Do men of contentment get? Do men of righteousness get? In the law, there's a phrase. It's called the prurient interest. In other words, the interest that man has in degraded things. And the appeal that man has towards these degraded things. Each of us has within us heaven and hell. Heaven reaches for truth, hell reaches for that which is degraded. We have to somehow relieve ourselves of this prurient interest, this interest in that which is degraded, this interest in that which is beyond that which we've been taught by the prophets, that which is outside of the realm of purity, outside of the realm of what's holy, that which belongs to the satanic qualities, that which belongs to the degraded one, to the great liar. Well, we have to be able to see the value of appropriate behavior. We have to be able to see the value of contentment. We have to be able to see the value of serenity. We have to be able to see the value of truth. And it's difficult to see the value of these as we roam through the world, because in the world, it seems the ones who steal get rewarded. The ones who put themselves higher than others seem to get rewarded. The ones who have power seem to get rewarded. But this is the illusion of Maya. This is the lie that's being told to us. These are the advertisements which don't portray the truth. The world of advertising is very clever. They know how to appeal to you to make you do things. They know how to appeal to you to drive you in certain directions. Satan is using advertisements in the same way. Satan is using false pleasure as if it were true pleasure, degraded pleasure as if it were godly pleasure. And in order to know the truth, we have to be in contact with those who reside within the serenity and the contentment and the peace of the Creator. And once we touch that, once we become close to that, then we know that marijuana and opium and alcohol can't match that serenity. The falsities in this world can't match that serenity. The degraded things in this world can't match that serenity. But we have to understand that nature. We have to understand the difference between falsehood and truth. We have to understand the difference between right and wrong. And then we have to appreciate what doing right does for us, the cleansing power of that. Each of us has to become purified. Each of us has to go through the reels of our past, the acts of our past, all that we've been involved with. And we have to cleanse it, which essentially means we have to go over it, view it, and remove it from our being. Take it away from ourselves. Don't let it still be with us. Drive it from our being so that we are left with what we came. And what we came with was purity. We've developed all of this impurity during our life. And sometime in our life, we have to come to the conclusion that we're carrying all of these impure burdens, and somehow we have to get rid of them. We have to get rid of the regrets of our past. We have to get rid of the actions of our past. And we have to do that through an internal purification. To do that, we have to set up an appropriate intention. And we have to leave our previous lives. We have to leave the actions that we had when we were young. I even heard Bawa say that when he was young, he was wild, but he changed and he came into the straight path. And we all need to go into the straight path. And we have to understand that the mistakes of youth the mistakes even of middle age, they're all correctable. We can go through our mistakes and leave them behind us as opposed to carrying forward with us. And it's really very important that we do that. Otherwise, we remain within the satanic qualities. Otherwise, we remain within the degraded qualities. Otherwise, we remain within the degraded way of being. And we are not meant to be created. We are the holy creation of our Creator. We have been created in a way that we carry with us the qualities of our Creator. And we need to be able to bring those qualities forth within us. We have to recognize them, become them, let them be nurtured within us, and bring them into our everyday actions. And when that occurs, that's when change occurs in our lives. That's when we become the true representatives of God. Only God can pray to God. Only God understands truth. Only God understands reality. So what is it that we have to do? We have to take on the qualities of God. We have to incorporate them into our being, and we have to let them shine forth from us so that we have no differences, so that we have no distinctions, so that we feel others' pain as our own, so that we treat others in the way we wish to be treated, so that we don't separate ourselves from other people. Every man has a soul. Every man has a bit of God in him. Not every man recognizes it. So man has the capability of soaring towards reality or falling towards the lowest portions of hell. We make this choice in our life, and we make this choice every moment. Maya is constantly looking to devour us. Maya is constantly looking to trip us up. Maya is constantly looking for us to be entranced by the illusion of the fact that the world can bring us some kind of satisfaction. In truth, once we understand the satisfaction that is Allah, once we understand the satisfaction that is the truth, once we reach the state of being pure and being able to understand within ourselves mercy and compassion, we then understand that everything we thought was pleasurable does not compare. Imagine the mercy of our Lord, that he has given to each and every one of us the ability to have his qualities, the ability to incorporate within ourselves that which is incorporated in him. God in his mercy has given that to every man, yet not every man takes it on. Not every man accepts it. Not every man wants it. Many men reject it out of hand for the trivial pursuit of worldly pleasures. There are the minor pleasures, which are the world, and the exalted pleasures, which are godly. We need to understand there's a difference between effulgence and temporary satisfaction, difference between grace and temporary satisfaction. We must turn ourselves towards grace. We must turn ourselves towards effulgence. We must leave that which is temporary for that which is eternal, and we must learn how to understand the difference. Maya is illusion. Illusion fades, it's temporary, just like this body fades because it's temporary. But there is within us eternity. It is our duty to ourselves and to our Lord to find eternity. We must return to what it is we were when we came here, to truth and to purity and to the qualities of God. We must take that straight path. We must find that straight path. We must be intent on finding that straight path. This is our salvation, and this is what will bring us close to God and take us to that kingdom and protect us from the kingdom of hell. It's all available to us. We have to choose what it is we want. And usually man chooses what he thinks is best for him. But man isn't always that smart. So we need prophets, we need teachers, we need ketubs to guide us in the right way, and we need contact with them so we can see what the manifestation of correctness looks like. And then when we see it, inshallah, we'll fall in love with it and we'll want to become it and imitate it. May each of us understand that truth. May each of us understand that way. May each of us come to know the mercy of our Lord, the contentment of our Lord, the peace of our Lord, and may that be who each of us becomes. Ameen, ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.